Welcome to Entrepreneurship at Rowan, an official production of the award-winning Rowan Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. We cover the entrepreneurial pulse of Rowan students, faculty, and alumni, prepared to be Rowan proud.
Welcome to Season 2 of Entrepreneurship at Rowan. I'm your host, Joe Sokolowski. I want to know more about the flourishing entrepreneurial ecosystem in and around Rowan today. I'll be joined by a collection of professionals in the entrepreneurial investment space to hear their experience in the field and help you become a better entrepreneur. Today we are joined by Joanne Corkran, co-CEO and managing partner at Golden Seeds. Golden Seeds is a national angel group that focuses on startups with gender diversity in their founders or management teams. This means that there is a woman in the C-suite with a significant equity stake. Thank you for being with us today, Joanne.
Thank you for having me, Joseph.
Of course. So I guess to get right into it, Golden Seeds has seen tremendous success over the years since it's been founded in 2005. And I was wondering if you could tell us some of the history that got you to where you are and kind of your reasons for starting the group in the beginning.
Well, in 2005, our founder had recently left a successful Wall Street career. Okay. And while she was deciding the next phase in her life, she tried out several local New York angel groups. Okay. And I'm going to paraphrase, but in short, this is what she found. At that time, just to lay the landscape for you, because it was 17 years ago, at that time, women-owned companies represented about 25% of the entrepreneurs in the United States. But women led fewer than 3% of the startup companies that received capital across the entire angel and venture industry. And of all the angel groups in the U.S., only about 5% of those active individual investors were women. And that was the industry overall. At the two particular angel groups she was going to, she noticed that women that came in to present to seek funding were frequently, even better prepared than their male counterparts, and yet they had a significantly lower success rate at garnering interest or funds from those angel groups. So, after some thinking, her essential idea was that if you want to fund more women, you need more women to make the evaluations and to write the checks. Using her network, she started Golden Seeds. And she started it with, several goals in mind. First, investing in gender diverse founders. Golden Seeds was among the first, if not the first, to speak in earnest about an investment thesis, including gender diversity. Our aim is to help build great companies that are diverse because we think that it will produce better investment results, that it will be more inclusive, and it will create corporate cultures from the beginning that work for all employees, men and women. So for us, gender diversity means we want at least one woman in the C-suite. That's been true of every single one of the more than 170 companies that we've invested in.
That's awesome.
It's our belief that if you have a woman in a leadership role that makes hiring decisions at the beginning, then the whole company is likely to be diverse. And the corporate culture will emerge that works for everybody. We also believe in gender diversity in our management and our membership. From the beginning, we've always felt that Golden Seeds should have men in the group. I mean, we like men, and they have a lot of money. And they have, a lot of domain expertise. So we want men. And today, more than 20% of our membership is men, even though we only invest in companies that have at least one woman. Even from the early beginning of Golden Seeds, I would say one of the things that was in addition to our investment thesis, that was really different was our commitment to sort of continuous learning culture. So a lot of women that were being recruited into the group had never done early stage private investing, and we wanted to build an active investor community where people were engaging in the due diligence and supporting the companies So we built a training program. And over time, Golden Seeds has become known for its really excellent training program. And then the other thing that became apparent pretty quickly was that we needed a national footprint. You probably know this, but very few angel groups are national in scope. A lot of times angel groups are formed because people want to boost jobs in their local area. That's one of the benefits that they want to do. But because we were looking for, the best women-led companies, we realized that we needed to expand geographically beyond our New York roots. And we did that first in Boston and then Silicon Valley. And now we have members in 27 states and 8 chapters in Arizona, Atlanta, Boston, Dallas, Houston, New Jersey, New York City. I think I named them all. So okay. It was good. And I want to go back and say one other thing, because I said at the beginning that we wanted to invest in women because we thought we could get good investment results from that. And that wasn't without foundation. There have been studies going back to, at least the mid-90s, maybe earlier, that talk about how much diversity improves financial performance. So, for instance, a lot of those studies, most of them, in particular the ones from the 90s, were done on large public entities in the U.S. and Europe. And in particular, there's these studies that talk about when you have women on boards. Share price performance in companies with even one woman on their board is, as much as 20% higher than companies with no women in their boards. And the last time I read that study, it was Credit Suisse in 2014. So there might be a new one now.
With Golden Seeds yourselves, talking about corporate culture and improving shareholder value with a woman in a C-suite role, have you seen it yourself in companies you guys have invested in?
I would say yes. There have been pretty large studies of this now in the last few years in private companies that show that that thesis from public companies is the same in smaller private companies. In particular, and if you haven't seen this one, I can send it to you, study about 2 years ago by BCG, Boston Consulting Group, and Mass Challenge. Mass Challenge, if you don't know them, they are one of the largest accelerator programs in the world. That their review of their company showed that the women-led companies received significantly less invested capital than their male peers, and dramatically less, 53% less on average. Yet within 2 years, those female-led companies generated higher revenues per dollar invested, and not just higher, more than twice as high. And the absolute revenues were also greater for the women-led companies. So, okay. So it's with that background. This isn't a new thesis, but we're definitely one of the first and maybe the first angel group to put it into practice.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome to hear that what you guys advocate for, and you could see the success you guys have had with your expanding network of groups across the country, and I think that's awesome. Moving on here, the primary audience of our podcast is the Rowan University entrepreneurial students, and many of them are looking to start and scale their own ventures for themselves. So could you tell us what an investment at Golden Seeds looks like?
Okay, so let's talk numbers first. And if you go on our website, there's a lot of information, and I definitely refer people there. But our initial investments are anywhere from, $125,000 to over $1 million. The averages can be pretty different. In 2021, our average investment was about $300,000, and we invested in 15 new companies in 2021. 2022, the average is over $800,000, but that's a bit skewed because we closed a deal in January that our investors loved, and they put so much money into it. But I would say on average, somewhere between, the range is anywhere from 200 to a million plus. If you think about, like, this is your second season of this podcast, so you probably know that in many companies, the typical way the companies get funded is they raise a little bit of money from their friends and family, they bootstrap, and then they go out and get an angel round, and then if they're doing well, they go on and raise, venture or growth money from larger funds or strategics. So depending on where we are in the investing cycle, we'll invest in, preferred equity or convertible debt. We even invest into some safes. It depends on the situation.
Could you talk a little more about what the screening process looks like for Golden Seeds when you're looking at a new company to invest in?
Yes. And I will say that the process is a bit complex. We're a large group, chapters all over the place. So we meet nearly 1,000 companies each year, and we invest in less than 3% of those. So going from that funnel of 1,000 down to the ones that we invest in it's complex. Most of the 1,000 companies that we touch come through something that these two functions that we have. One is called our regular information session. And you can sign up for that. That's offered to any entrepreneur. We do ask that you meet our basic criteria, that you're in the U.S., that you have women in the C-suite, and that it's not an art or a real estate project, okay, because we don't fund those. But otherwise, anybody can come to our information session, and that gives you information about how angels in general behave and how we in particular behave. One of our great members, Rob Delman, graciously runs most of those sessions, and he's a cashed out entrepreneur and a really seasoned investor with multiple groups. So he's just got a lot.
Yeah, I could speak to that. I know when I went to the info session, he did a great job. So good job, Rob.
He's got a lot to impart in just that, 45-minute session. After the info session, we have office hours in each of our chapters. And office hours are different than the info session because there we actually schedule the companies that come in. And it's a one-shot deal. We don't promise you anything after that, and we don't ask for you anything after that one meeting. But essentially, you get to meet with a few investors, people who actually write checks, and they will give you feedback on your pitch, on your idea. And based on our criteria, they'll give you some insight on whether you're ready to apply formally to us for funding. If you apply for funding, we do make you pay $50, and I want to tell you why that is. One point when we didn't have a gate, the payment gate was broken. In 1 month, we got 600 applications.
Oh my gosh!
From all over the world, the vast preponderance of which did not have a woman on the team.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that must have been a crazy month.
Yeah, so we have a little bit of a gate there, just to force people to read our criteria, Yeah. So if you read it and you think, gee, why are they making you pay $50? Because that's what it takes.
Yeah.
So here's the things I would recommend, that if you're thinking, if you're working on your idea, put together a pitch deck that, covers the 10 basics. And they're on our website, and they're also on lots of places on the internet. And then always have in the back of your head your 30-second and your 2-minute elevator pitch ready, and keep refining it, because you never know who you're going to meet and for how long you're going to have their attention. That's our process. It sounds more complex than it is. Once somebody applies and they're screened by a group. We do three different screenings a month. And you're screened by essentially, there'll be 30 people who hear you pitch and look through your application. They'll do some pre-work. In particular, if it's a healthcare company, we'll look at the data if you've provided us with data. And if it's enterprise software, we'll try to do a little bit of pre-work about what's the competition out there, and then we'll screen you based on that. And the screening committees will decide, is there enough potential interest for this deal to be shown to our entire membership? After you go to the membership, people then self-select who wants to follow your deal and work on the due diligence.
Kind of with everything you had just mentioned here about your screening process, I think that I have found it personally unique to Golden Seeds is how much they offer to startups and entrepreneurs before they even get to a legitimate screening process, like you're saying, past that $50 gate that you guys have in place. And I think that that's an awesome resource for anyone, really, even someone who's just looking to get into it and doesn't know where to start. So I think that that's great, and it helps foster entrepreneurship across the nation.
Yeah, and if you come to the information session, as you did, you know that there's we put in a lot of incubator and startup, incubator and accelerator information in there, and different, websites that offer tips and stuff like that.
You've talked about so many awesome things at Golden Seeds already. Is there anything in the future that you guys have planned that's going to be exciting?
To tell you the truth, the thing that I am most excited about in the near future is getting back to in-person and hybrid events, because we've been remote for 2 years.
Okay.
It's worked very well. I'm incredibly amazed at how easily we transitioned to a remote operation. But I miss the people, and we're going to we're starting hybrid events in the next couple of months, and I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting. We always do this wish list thing with our companies. And in fact, we're having our annual summit the first week of May. And we'll have about 35 of our companies present. And we'll solicit from all the companies things that they're looking for. And we'll present that to the membership. And every year we try to do a better and better job responding to those wish lists. I want to come back to one other thing that we offer. The power of Golden Seeds is our 350 members. We have a set of members that have incredible domain and functional experience. Once you're part of our portfolio, you have access to many of those people, and not just those people, but their networks.
Yeah, I know personally the mentorship aspect of any investment group, it can really make or break startups, and that expertise that the investors already have can be huge into making that company successful. That sounds awesome. And like I said, I love what you guys do. I think that the summit and that stuff, that sounds like it's great experience, and just for anyone who's a part of it.
So I want to recommend that go to an information session if you want to learn about what we do in angels in general. And if your students or your alum are at the point where they're thinking about being a potential angel investor, we have periodic open houses, and you can find out about those on our LinkedIn page, and that gives you an insight into what it's like to be a member of Golden Seeds.
Okay. And like you're saying with the info session, where could someone find information about where to join that? On our website, it says entrepreneurs. And if you click on that page, down the bottom, it talks about office hours and the information session. Okay, great. Yeah.
Start with the information session.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure. I think that this is great to hear all the information about Golden Seeds, and I'm sure there's going to be a couple Rowan students coming your way soon, so that'll be exciting.
Okay, Joseph, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Joanne, likewise. Thank you so much for taking your time to talk with me today. To recap, Golden Seeds is an angel group based out of New York, New York, with 8 chapters located across the country, one of which is in New Jersey. The group is focused on investing in companies with gender diversity and offers expertise and funding from members across the United States. More information about Joanne and Golden Seeds can be found at goldenseeds.com or LinkedIn/goldenseeds.
Thank you for listening. Rowan is proud to be an official knowledge hub of the International Council for Small Business. Our AACSB award-winning entrepreneurship programs challenge students to solve real problems in bold and impactful ways. If you're interested in supporting entrepreneurship at Rowan or want to get more involved by hiring an intern, speaking to a class, or being featured as a case study, contact us at rcie@rowan.edu.